Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That's what we do here every single day. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. And our quote of the day: respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, trust is gained, loyalty is returned. And that is from Ed Mylett, a good friend of ours, who we are going to be chatting with in a little bit because he is responsible for the fact that we are back in studio here in Connecticut. And we are going to share why right after our Dunkin' break. Because it's a whole other story when you're on the East Coast and you have Dunkin', because now you're home with Dunkin'. And so today I've got my soy milk latte, very happy, classic blueberry muffin in the bag. Jeff, do you know how to...
You guys can't see it, can you?
No.
There we go.
Do you know how to eat a blueberry muffin from Dunkin' Donuts?
Well, as you can tell, I've already eaten about half of it, this is the mistake I always make on this show, as I'm supposed to save it, and I've already eaten half of it. So obviously I love it, but I'm out of focus. I tend to just pick it in pieces and eat it.
Okay.
Is that right?
So let's discuss. I mean, you all know I worked there for 6 years.
You did?
And
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
oh, I'm like, does she not listen when I talk? Like, is that what's happening here? Jerk. Okay, so I used to make the donuts and the muffins, and it was with a Greek man in Porter Square, Dunkin' Donuts in Somerville, Massachusetts, and we used to kind of supply all of the local Dunkins. And when those blueberry muffins came out of the oven, holy shit, guys, were they delicious. And you take a slab of butter, you cut a little sliver in the blueberry muffin, and you stick it in, and then you let it melt inside the middle. And then when you take the top off and you eat it, you want to die. It's so good. Whoa. And I knew the trick because before working at Dunkin' at 13, we used to clean nightclubs, one of the biggest ones called the Channel in Boston. And the Channel was... on the way we would go, there was like a canteen truck right on the bridge before we turned right to go into the parking lot of the Channel. And my dad would stop there sometimes and get his coffee. And sometimes I was lucky and I was able to get a blueberry muffin, but they were gangsters and they would already have the butter in the middle. So I learned from a young age that you can't eat a blueberry muffin without putting the sliver of butter in there. And so, yeah.
I love that.
How you eat a blueberry muffin properly. So for you, you would ask the lovely employee at Dunkin' Donuts, would you mind putting a little butter on that and throwing it in the microwave for 20 seconds? Oh, yeah. That's how you live.
That would be Jenny. I will say, speaking of nice Dunkin' employees, I'm already besties with Jenny. She's the Dunkin' and the employee at the Akron Dunkin'. She's great. And I will. Next time, I'm probably going to go tomorrow and ask for that blueberry muffin Menounos style.
Jeff, you reminded me, because I have to make a new friend. I love my one guy, one girl in Encino, but now I don't know.
Yeah, you got to make friends here.
I gotta.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can order ahead on the app and make your life so much easier.
And then you just walk in.
But yeah, this soy milk latte is absolute heaven right now. And the blueberry muffins, I mean, you taste the blueberries, it's luscious. But yeah, ask for a little
butter.
And don't forget to tip them. Throw them a little something, because you know we all know that tips are what make the world go round when you're in the service industry. So I know that's how I survived, and it always made me feel really good when someone tipped me. I used to make more money on my tips, by the way, than on my checks each week.
Wow.
Because I went over and above for everybody. Because as I've said on the show, I was always auditioning. I was always like, you never know.
We actually make sure y'all are following us on the Better Together IG. We rolled a very nice, concise reel of that always auditioning moment. And it's making me think, even when I'm out and about, meeting people, meeting our new neighbors here at the cottage, I'm just remembering.
Jeff.
Oh my God.
Meeting the new neighbors at the cottage. Oh, man.
You reminded me, though, when you said that you made more tips. I used to make more tips in my bartending, too, than my actual check.
Oh, yeah.
1,000,000%.
Well, that's bartending. That's different. They pay you absolutely nothing so that you do live off tips.
Oh, that's true.
Dunkin' Donuts, you make your...
like a normal wage.
You make a normal wage, yeah. And so the tips were just, because I memorized everyone's orders. Do you know, I told you the story before that when I used to after I made it in Hollywood, I would see people in the area and I'm like, cream, no sugar, corn muffin. And they'd be like, how the heck do you remember? I had such a crazy memory for people's orders. So I just wanted to make their days quick and easy and efficient. So I would have it ready. The second their license plate would pull up, because we had a storefront with all windows. And so I would see their car pull up and I'm like, oh, that's John, black, no sugar, whatever. And I'd have everything ready for them. And they're like, you're amazing. And I'm like, no big deal.
No big deal.
So fun.
Anyway,
so fun.
You got to take pride in everything you're doing. Okay. So we are in Connecticut. And as you know, Winnie, shush. As you know, it's been a challenging time. Both my parents survived COVID and we're really grateful, but my mom's had a rough journey and she still has the brain tumor and all of that. And so they had wanted to come back here in the spring for Easter. And I remember having to tell my parents that there was this thing called COVID. And I don't think you guys are going to be able to fly. Come on, Maria. My dad was saying, come on, Maria, you crazy. And then all of a sudden I was like, no, you really can't fly.
So
and
crazy.
I was pretty unpopular in that moment. And then as the news really started to trickle in, they realized, oh, this is global. So they've been stuck with me. And then at Thanksgiving, we all know my mom and my dad got COVID. And so that stopped that trip in its tracks. And then, we were hoping my mom would be better maybe for a Christmas trip. That didn't happen. And then an angel stepped forward. So let's see if we can get Ed up. Guys, we are coming to you live from Connecticut. Kelsey and I are back in the studio here, and we are here. It was kind of a surprise. I didn't tell anybody that we were coming back because I found a window where I felt like it was time to get home and have my mom be surrounded by family. And, as Kris Jenner taught me, and that's why we got married on New Year's Eve 2 years ago, tomorrow is never promised. And so I just wanted to make sure that my mom could get back to her house, because we tried at Thanksgiving time. Unfortunately, COVID hit her and my dad, and we never got here. And then we said we would try again at Christmas, and then that didn't work because my mom just hasn't been well enough. So at some point last week, I said, Mom, what do you think about going home? And she was like, I would love it, Maria. I said, all right, let me see if I can figure something out, Mom. So I texted my friend and said, Jen, can you help me find a good deal on a private plane? Because these things, as you know, are excruciatingly expensive. And she's like, I'm on it. And that day, I was having a lunch with Ed Mylett and Kristen Prouty, my friend Kristen from the WWE, gangster executive there. And I had texted Ed, who is here with us now. Hi, Ed. I had texted Ed to get his advice on how he built his successful podcast. I made a New Year's resolution last year. It carried over to this year to be more bold and to ask for help, which is really hard for us in life to, I hate bothering people. I hate imposing. I hate all of that. And so I texted you and was like, I would love to get some advice. When are you going to be back in LA? He's like, well, I'm going to be back in LA, at this date. I'm having lunch with KP. And I go, can I bomb your lunch? And they both let me bomb their lunch. And we just had this amazing conversation. Ed, you just lost your dad a few months ago. KP has gone through all this stuff, and you guys were sharing some really beautiful stories. And I just mentioned, that I'm working on getting my mom back to the East Coast. And that's when, my Reiki healer, Patty Penn, who we've had on the show, was like, when all of this started, she goes, you need to just keep saying and reciting, I only work with angels in human form. I only work with angels in human form. And so Ed became an angel in human form. He instantly went, well, you can take my plane. And I remember just kind of and then he started talking about this plane that he just bought, and everything just kind of got foggy and I was confused. And I was like, what is he talking about? He just offered me a plane, and I just couldn't even take it in right then. And then I'm like, well, we just kind of know each other just, from doing each other's podcasts. I'm like, I can't ask him first. I can't say yes to this. And you were like, really, honestly, tell me if you need it. And so the next morning, things weren't really working out. And I was like, oh, and my mom wasn't doing well. And it was really scaring me. And I said, oh, shit, I think God sent him to me. I think I have to say yes. I think I have to ask. And, you don't want to miss that opportunity in that window when she can fly, because she just started her chemo. So I texted Ed, and he was like, literally instantly, no problem. Let me get you in touch with the pilots. Let me make this happen. And there's a lot of work and coordination that goes into putting all this together on your end. You had to hire other pilots. I mean, this wasn't even like, oh, I have pilots on staff. You had to hire other pilots. Okay, this is what an angel this man is to fly this plane. The pilots are having to do all this overtime because they have all these other trips, and they're having to overnight in, the city that we took off in, and all of this stuff to make this work. And I'm like, I can't even believe this. I called KP, by the way, literally sobbing. I couldn't even make sense of words, but I was sobbing. And so, Ed, I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping us, because what I didn't know when all this was coming together is the plane that I would have gotten, she wouldn't have even been able to get onto, and didn't have, oh, sorry, hold on, I got to get rid of this poodle. I'm very, hold on. This is so awkward. Winnie, get out of here. Take her.
Come here, Winnie.
I'm getting all like tied up here. The plane that I would have gotten, she wouldn't have even fit on. They were so narrow. And so, not to blow up Ed's plane, but Ed has like the biggest plane that ever existed. And so even when we got there, the ambulance people didn't know if they would be able to get her on. And then, of course, the wheelchair that they bring in fit right down the aisle. He had a bed on there set up, and she was able to lay down and have a very comfortable flight. And, I sent him a video, and I had a hard time figuring out whether I was going to share this. But I think, sometimes people think, there are so many people that have their opinions about stuff. And, this was kind of a really kind of dire situation. And my mom made a little video for you that I sent you, and I'm going to share with everybody right now. If my mom wants to say something, say it, Mom.
This is Litsa Maria's mom. I want to thank you so much for giving us your plane to go back home.
Okay.
Dad, you want to say thank you?
Yeah, well, thank you, Ed, for what you're doing for us. And, God is going to give you more than you have. Thank you.
You made her dream come true. She's been so dying to come home. It's been over 1.5 years, and she flew home so comfortably. And the other thing, Ed, is, and you've gone through all this stuff, the other thing is like, we actually got some fun time, right? Like, I mean, listen, you're on a private jet. It feels awesome. Like, it's a living room in the sky. I said, even if we were going back home, this was just fun to have an escape for all of us, to just leave her little like hospital room. You know what I mean? And, it was amazing. And my dad was smiling and laughing, and my mom, look at her smiling on the plane. She was so comfortable. We had our caretakers on there. I was able to transport. That's the other thing. I had to transport so much of her stuff, medical supplies and all kinds of things that she needed comfortably and easily. And it was just beyond. So I'm going to shift the energy for a second, because I don't want it to be all like emotional.
I never cry. I mean, I do not cry. What are you doing to me?
But this is a fun moment. I didn't send you this, I don't think, but let's see. Okay, Ed, thank you. Dad, is the plane big enough for you?
Oh, too small.
Too small, Dad. I'm embarrassed. Gotta get a bigger one. And then
Awesome.
there's a picture of
Awesome.
Winnie, who, because the plane was so large, had her own seat, the little bitch.
Yeah.
Do we
Yes,
have that
she did.
picture of Winnie?
Popping it up now. Here we go.
And yeah, there's Winnie.
That's awesome.
She had her own seat.
And you know what's funny, Ed, is I always dreamed about having my own plane. When I was little,
Yeah, me too.
I visualized everything in my life. I used to say, I'm going to have a house. It's going to look like the White House and it's going to be so big. And by the way, when I bought my house in LA, I looked at it and go, oh shit, this does kind of look like the White House. And I used to say, when I was like 15, I went into a Porsche dealership once. I'm like, I'm going to have one of those. And I did. And all of the things I said, except for the private jet, have happened. And there was a moment, I think, you know, as life kind of will wear you down, where I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then I saw Winnie in the chair. And I said, you little bitch, mama's got to work harder to get you a plane because you are really happy on this chair.
And she only flies private now.
It only flies. I gotta tell you, I can't show that video to my Pomeranians, Lily and Daisy. She's sitting in the seat, so it's a very controversial photo, just so you know.
But I can't thank you enough. You really gave us such a huge gift. There are just no words, so thank you.
I just want to tell you, we've been getting to know each other. I love you, number one, and we've obviously, you know, feel more connected to you. Just so everybody knows, first off, it's no big deal, and it's something anybody would do that has a heart that wants to help somebody. And so it's a little bit awkward for me to even be thanked for something like that. But it was interesting when I first said to you, I said, you can take my plane. You just kind of went, look at me, you can take the plane. I was like, and I just would tell you that, I mean, I know your audience knows this, but you're an extraordinary daughter. You're extraordinary. And when we were sharing those stories that day, I knew some of them, but some of them I'll keep with us, but you do things for your mother and father. I did just lose my dad. And so I know what that's like to just be scared of it. Yeah. And then to have it happen. And I know how much you love your parents. And my dad was my best friend. But you were sharing with me some of the things that you've been able to do with your mom, just, you know, when she was in the hospital, and you're all day long with her on your iPad, and make your own hazmat suit, which is hilariously awesome at the same time, to care for them, and just all the things before that. And I told you when you're telling me, I said, I wish I'd have done some of those things for my dad. And so when it came up, this is just a big reap what you sow karma thing for you. It has nothing to do with me. It's because you've been such an incredible child to your parents that these things begin to happen. And it was really my honor to do it. You know, one thing about making your dreams come true that's really been interesting to me that I would just share, because me too, I was, you know, you and I were both Massachusetts people. We didn't grow up with any money. And my family, there's no dreams really in my family. My family's just be a good family. That's my family. No one talks about houses and jets. I was literally never discussed, but I thought about it. But what's pretty cool about becoming successful on whatever level that means is that you end up making dreams come true that you never had for other people. And that's been to be honest with you, having the jet is great, but you know, like anything, after a while, anything cool, the material things wear off. Mm-hmm. But being able to do things for other people, that's way better than you think it is. And it's way better than you think it is. And so the reason I'm emotional about it is I'm just thinking about me and you, this little girl in Massachusetts with this Greek family, me from my family. Somehow we meet one day. We both love our parents. I just lose my dad. We're praying you don't lose your mom. And then for us to meet and be able to do this, it's just, God's amazing. The universe is amazing. And it was really cool to be a part of it. And I'm grateful. I'm just praying that mom's comfortable. So
thank you.
This is awkward for me.
I know. And I'm so grateful that you were able to do it, because the level of generosity, you know, not everybody just does that, even if they have it, Ed. And so I had to do this, and I had to honor you. And you know, it's
I want to honor you. I really rather everyone really know, honestly. Look, I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of friends I've known a lot longer than you, right? I've never, ever, I'm emotional about this. You're such an extraordinary woman and such an extraordinary daughter. I mean, it's unbelievable to me what you do for your parents. And, you know, we're in this personal development space, and I've been talking about this lately, but you know, the law of attraction isn't, I don't think you do attract what you think about and all that. I think you do a little bit. You ultimately long-term in your life, I think you attract who you are.
Ooh.
I think you long-term attract who you are. And I think you're like one of the most remarkable examples of that. Like your success is because you're just this wonderful person. And yeah, there's some blessings that come into your life because it's who you are. And I think that doesn't prove out over a year in someone's life or 3 years or 5 years, but you live a particular way long enough, you end up getting in your life who you are. And I hope that gives everybody comfort, because you and I aren't special. We just really both love people, and we both really love our parents.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really grateful that it happened. It's really, I hope everybody would do that, because it's not, I didn't think twice about it. I wouldn't think twice about doing it again. There's a limitation to everybody's resources, right? I wish you could do that for everybody all the time, but I was honored to do it. It's really interesting. Just your parents are such beautiful souls too. You can see it just in a video. Yeah. You can just see it in a video. They're just salt of the earth, beautiful people. So thank you for bringing it up, and thank you for letting me be a part of it too. And obviously it goes without saying, and you know I mean it now, if you need anything,
thank you.
I'm here.
I mean, I clearly know you mean it. So. I always tell people in this last few months, I'm like, you know, everyone will always say, let me know if you need anything. And a lot of that can be so empty, right? Yes, because it's just a line now that people say to feel like they did something. And so when people, I cry when someone does anything nice for us, because I just am always so moved. So this time, you know, I was sobbing in a voice text to Kristen, but I have to thank KP for introducing us, because she's always bringing amazing people into my life. And that night before I saw you guys, and I was scared, I said, God, bring me the people that I need. Bring me the things that I need. Show me what I need to do. Show me where I need to go. And every time I've been scared, and, you know, it's been a 4.5-year long journey with my mom, anytime I've been scared, or the doctors have counted her out, or whatever it was, I've asked God for guidance, and I've asked for support, and it shows up. And it was like unbelievable, because I was in such a rough space that the day before I almost texted you guys to cancel.
I know. You told me.
And I remember saying to myself, Maria, life has to keep moving forward. You do need advice from him, and you do want to see humans and friends and good people. Like, I really was craving just being with good people. So it was like, just go and escape for a little bit. Don't feel guilty. It's okay. You know, when you're caretaking, you feel guilt sometimes about like not being there and taking time for yourself. I've kind of grown past that, and I've learned, and I think that's how I've survived taking care of them and not gotten sick myself, is like I will take those moments. Good. But yeah,
we had such a beautiful conversation too that day.
Yeah.
Like, unexpectedly beautiful.
Yeah.
I have to say one thing, if I'm being vulnerable, I just want everyone to hear this. So I want you to know what I'm actually thinking. And I've thought this for a number of years, but like, I'm not a great.
Oh no.
I'm wrong in my life.
Oh, Ed, hold on one sec. You cut out. You said, I'm an
average man. Oh, our internet connection's unstable. Am I still there?
Yeah, we're here now.
Okay. I was saying there's nothing great about me or special. And I say that, I don't even say that with humility. It's really true. And like, I'm aware of all the things I'm not good at. I'm just being vulnerable. I'm just telling you what I've been thinking lately is like, I've been able to maybe help somebody with something, even if it's just a kind word. And I would like everyone to hear, I'm aware of mistakes I've made. I'm aware of things I wish I could have done differently in my life. And yet God still will use me to help somebody. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because I don't want you to think that you're disqualified from helping somebody, or that God won't use you in a great way. He's using me, an average, ordinary guy who's made mistakes and done some good things and some bad things in his life. And he still sometimes chooses me to make a difference in other people's lives, whether that's my show or something with you. Or I just want everyone to hear that. Like, it's okay if you've made mistakes. It's okay if you're not perfect. It's okay if you don't think there's anything extraordinary about you. I think if you just have great intention. Wayne Dyer wrote this amazing book. I'll tell you this last. I'm 30 years old. I'm running on the beach in Hawaii. I won a trip in a company I was in. And I had two kind of virtual mentors, Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer. Your audience knows Tony. Yep. I hope most of them know Wayne.
Oh, yeah. We talk about him all the time here.
I'm running. It changed my life. I'm running. And again, this was God intervening. I'm running, and it's 4 a.m. So most people don't run at 4 a.m. I'm running, and this man's running towards me on the beach. He passes me. It's Wayne Dyer, like in the dark.
Oh, the real, I thought you were going to talk about the book.
No, the real Wayne Dyer. And I don't know how old I am at the time, probably 30. And I turn, I say, and we're both, here's how long ago, we both have Sony Walkmans on. And I yell, Mr. Dyer. And he turns in the Wayne Dyer way, and that voice, like he has a deep voice, and he goes, yes. And I said, I just want to thank you. You changed my life. And normally, just like that, hey, if you need anything, most people say thank you. He stops and goes, how did I do that? We're both running, sweating. And he starts to walk towards me. And he goes, sit down, tell me how I changed your life. Because I think you changed your life. And I ended up sitting on the beach watching the sun come up at 30 years old with Wayne Dyer.
Oh my God.
And at the time, and we became dear friends. And at the time, there was no reason, but it's not that dissimilar from this. There was no reason for that to happen other than I decided to get up when I didn't want to go for a run. And it just changed my life because I'm like, I don't have like these extraordinary abilities or talents, but I do want to do good. And I've driven a lot of my confidence over the years from just my intention. I'll remind myself, even if I go into an interview, like I intend to serve people, or a big speech, there's 40,000 people. How do I calm myself? I pray for guidance, but I also reflect on that conversation on the beach. Like my intentions are to serve these people. Mm-hmm. So all my life, I've sort of just been really focused on that. I give myself credit for my intent. And I don't think enough people maybe that are listening to this do that. Like, I'm not extraordinary. I'm not incredibly gifted. My IQ's not through the roof. Like, I just intend to maybe serve people pretty well. And I think all of you should know God will use you too, even with your sins, even with your frailties and weaknesses and insecurities. He'll still use you. And that's just what I wanted to say, because I don't want people thinking there's something special about me. Well, so there's something special about God.
I respectfully disagree, Ed. However, what I do love about what you're saying is, a lot of people will think, well, I don't have a jet and I don't have all these things. I know someone in my family, when he talks about what I do for my mom and dad, he's like, well, if I had millions, I'd do the same thing. And it's like, it's not about the money. It's the time, it's the devotion, it's the research, it's the hustle, it's everything else I do. Because that's what makes the difference. The money, yes, of course, it can afford different things, but it's not just that. I've devoted my life to keeping them healthy and alive and safe. And that is a whole other thing. But you don't have to have all of these things to do good and to have good intent, as you said. And I think that's such a special message.
Yeah, I agree with you. And my dad, I told you about how he helped people get sober all of his life. My dad, there's two Ed Myletts. There's me and my dad. I'll hold a candle to him. He didn't have the resources or the money that I had, but he had the intention to help people. He got sober and he wanted to help other people do that. My dad lived an extraordinary life. And so I completely believe that. And I don't say that. I mean, you with your mom, being on your iPad 24 hours a day with her while she was in the hospital and sleeping with her every single night when she had her computer and you had yours because you couldn't go in for COVID. That didn't cost you any money at 3:00 in the morning to be there for your mom.
Yeah.
That was your intention. That was your heart. And so there's all kinds of things. These are kind of things I don't know if your audience knows about you, but it's extraordinary beauty what she's done for her parents. And so this is just a little thing, a little extension of that. So
thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Well, I can't thank you enough. I am going to send my husband to go build you a studio.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take it.
And I'm going to tell him, because there are a few people he's built them for now. Like the few people in our lives that we really, really love, I'll say, all right. He'll ask me, he's like, can I go do it? I'm like, yeah, you can go do it. And
can he bring me some more of the fruit when he comes? He already ate it all that you gave me.
Wait, can I just tell you? I really took advantage of the fact that they said, oh no, this thing fits 70 people normally. So I said, Dad, will you pick some fruit? We need some out here. Cause we're here with dead trees. It's Connecticut. It's freezing. So we brought a huge tote of citrus, but it's all gone. I'll give you the code to the house. You can go anytime. It's a full orchard grove in the front yard. We have lemons and limes and tangelos and blood oranges. When we come back to LA, I make the best blood orange margarita from the trees. It's insane. It's insane.
I don't know what you're sprinkling on that fruit. No joke. I don't know what's in that stuff. I think there may be a little bit of crack in there. That stuff is
I told you. It's my crack. It's so good.
It's so good. So, okay, I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ed, you are permanently ingrained in my family and in our lives. And I'm so grateful to you and your extraordinary heart that you obviously got from your dad. And, you know, I think we'll tell the story in more depth at some point because I think it was a beautiful story. But literally his dad on his deathbed got a call from someone who needed him. He took the call, helped him through a moment where he was going to start to use again, and then died 2 hours later. Literally to his last breath was helping people. Wow. So this is in your lineage. Wow. Okay. It is a part of you. And I think the reason why you're starting to look at your life a lot more is because you want to be even more like him. Because the example that he set and that you saw even in the end, when you saw all those people come to memorialize him and see him off, you know, it starts to make you realize, oh, maybe I can be more. Maybe I can be better. And that's why. So I'm just grateful that I was in your path as you are, you know, it was just unbelievable. So I can't thank you enough. And
my blessing. Please give your mom and dad a hug and kiss from me.
Thank you. And we will hopefully get together and have some fun times at some point. I knew when I first met you, I was like, oh, he's cool. We're going to be friends. Like this is, and KP had like sung your praises, but I mean, man, I did not know it was going to go this way, but I'm even happier now. So thank you.
Me too. God bless. Take care.
I'll
talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Ed. Be safe.
All right. Okay.
Ed's amazing.
He's incredible. I mean, the whole thing about intentions is it's just amazing. And his point of that you get, oh my gosh, Vincenza,
you get who you are.
Right. You get who you are. Winnie agrees.
No, are you agreeing or disagreeing, you little bitch?
Winnie. She's like, I want more, Mom.
Guys, no. She's so bratty. She's so bratty.
But you get who you are. That's beautiful. It's like a perfect way to talk karma. I mean,
well, sometimes when these things happen, I always am like, why? And then I was thinking recently, I'm like, well, why not me? I did make a shirt once that said, why not me? Because I had to remind myself, like, well, why not me? Why don't I deserve these things? Why am I getting these things? And why wouldn't I? I mean, I help a lot of people. I do. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just karma. Like I can't, you know, be so like, oh no, like I do. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm blessed to have incredible people in my life. But I'm going to tell you right now, even with all the people that I know, and listen, if I asked, I'm sure it would be different, but that just doesn't happen. That's why I wanted to say thank you, Dad, like this, because
he's a rare.
That was an extraordinary gift he gave us. And it, you know, it's not cheap.
Well, and he's also clearly a rare spirit in the fact that he can say, he's like, I'm ordinary. I'm not.
I know.
It's like, what? He's
I believe
so
him.
evolved.
I think sometimes you see people who will be like, I'm just a regular guy. And you're like, okay, I know you're saying that, but there's something in your delivery or that I'm seeing in your heart that makes me think you actually don't view yourself as a regular person.
Right.
And the way Ed speaks in such a disarmingly humble and human way, I really do think that's why he's inspired so many people, because people can actually see themselves in him. The way he speaks, he's got such an aspirational down-to-earthness, coupled with the fact that he's built this extraordinary life. You really believe you can do it when you hear from him. So that's, I mean, it's to credit to him, that type of authenticity. And I will say, Maria, you have it too.
Yeah.
That's why both of you have built this huge community, is because people want in. When they see something that they believe they can achieve in someone, it's a magnet. You know, they're pulled into that.
And trust. Both of you have like the ability where it's like when you speak, like you said, Jeff, we believe you both. Yeah. Because you're so authentic and you're real and you're genuine and people trust you. Like I trust and believe that Ed really believes that.
Yeah.
And it's like, whew, and it brings you right. Yeah, you can see yourself in him. You can see yourself in you. And you guys are just, you're ordinary people that do extraordinary things, and everyone can do that.
So
doesn't have
true.
to give someone a jet.
So true.
What Chenzo agrees.
It was really nice too, on a side note, to see my dad so happy, because he was like crying for the days before. So that's what I was saying, like even just the momentary you know, just that flight, to feel like we could just suspend. Like, at first you're scared because you're flying a brain tumor patient who just, you know, got over COVID, and you're scared of all of that stuff. But once I knew we were safe, then you kind of just were like, whoa, we're on the coolest plane ever.
And he was so cute.
He was so happy. And he was like, he's so cute because he was just like, you know, almost like getting cocky on the plane or whatever. We didn't show Ed the video where he was like, the plane was too small, did we? Oh,
yeah,
we did. Yeah.
He was so funny. And Maria Jeff was like pretending she was bringing out her best waitress or flight attendant self. And Costa kept saying like, no, thank you. I'm good with my coffee.
I'm Maria. I'll be your flight attendant today. What can I get you for a beverage? Like, I love playing flight attendant. It's so fun.
I'm glad you're bringing that up too, just quickly, because that was my first thought, was like, man, I hope they get to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, we did.
Like, yes, there's a practical element of like, this is amazing, this is such a gift, but I was texting Kelsey, I was like, Lux, like, you deserve this, like, enjoy the flight. I mean, like, I feel lucky right now because I'm in this cottage in Akron right now, and like, it's beautiful, and I was like, they deserve some freaking fun. Like, a 5-hour flight. Like, I'm so glad you shared that too, because I wanted that for you guys.
Yeah, we definitely did. I mean, getting her off the plane in Connecticut was really scary because it was starting to rain, and I was like, oh my God, the stairs are going to be slippery.
And she was scared.
Landon, our pilot, was so amazing. So my mom was really scared to go down. Going up wasn't scary, and it was like super smooth and easy, but going down, she was so scared, so she kept grabbing onto the handle, and we're like, Mom, no, you can't grab the handle, because then they couldn't take her down the stairs. And then we had a 5 or 6 false starts, and then Landon just gave her his hand and stood behind the ambulance transport guy, I think his name was Jacob, and held her hand and walked behind and was helping carry the load of my mom, right? Because the guy on the bottom had the heaviest part to carry, and it's like 7 stairs to get down with my mom. And so he's holding her hand and holding them, and I'm like, oh shit, I put my hands up against him to make sure if anything happened, I could use my weight as well to like, but you know, everybody came together to do something beautiful, and I'm really grateful. And it was awesome. And she's so happy to be home, you guys. She's so happy we got home, we set everything up, you know, and it's we're operational, which is great. And because we were able to bring everything on the plane, I didn't have to run around the streets to go get all the supplies that she needs. Right. I was able to just bring all her supplies with us, and we were operational from go. And that's a big thing, because you got to make the transition happen. I kept telling my dad, I go, you're lucky I'm a producer, because all of the coordination to get everything right so that everything happens at the right time and she gets what she needs, and then we don't forget anything in flight. Like, I was like, all right, I got this. And I got home, and then Kevin had advanced here and got the house ready, because we had to swap rooms and we had to set up the caretaker, and like, we had all this stuff. And so we went to bed last night. We got into bed, and I'm like, okay, boo, this is a moment we need to have. And he goes, what? And I go, we are an amazing team. Mm-hmm. He goes, yeah, we are. I go, no. We've never, ever given ourselves the credit that I think we deserve for this. Like, we are an amazing team, and I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. And he's like, yeah. And we're like cuddling, and Winnie wasn't in the middle because she slept with Auntie Kelsey. So we were like able to have our moment without the little bitch barking. But she's here, she's safe, she's with, you know, family will soon be, you know, arriving and visiting and stuff. And I think it's going to make a big difference for her.
I think so too.
So, and we have more space, ironically, here. Like, the house's floor plan is a little more open. So now we can move her bed on wheels into the different rooms, so she can be a part of things rather than just being in her like little like hospital room. And so I think flow wise, it's going to be a lot better here too. So, you know.
And your dad felt like a celebrity this morning, Jeff.
Why?
Costa comes home from the dump, and he was like, these people at the dump, they say, hello, Mr. Menounos. He's like, what the heck? What the heck?
He forgets that people know him.
And we were like, you're famous. You're famous here. And he was like, so just like, what?
Yeah. And we're like,
So
oh, no,
funny.
that's Dan. That's
Dan.
our friend Dan.
That's our guy Dan.
Yeah. But if anybody who's been listening to the show for the last few months, when Kelsey and I were back here, we were obsessed with going to the dump for our trash because we just were excited to see Dan because he's so awesome.
He's the best.
Yeah.
So Costa was like,
anyhow, that is that. So we will be reporting from here for a while and praying that these treatments work and my mom gets better and better every day. That's what our mantra. Every day we're going to get better and better. And, you know, we just keep asking for more angels in human form to just keep surrounding us, and they keep coming. So we're really grateful. In the meantime, you can follow Ed Mylett on Instagram. Jeff will put the link of that in the summary. Also, he has an incredible podcast. Jeff will put that in the summary as well.
I'll put your episode, Maria.
Yeah, you can put our episode. And then also, I mean, he really covers similar content. So if you want a guy's perspective and a different voice in all of this, he's incredible. He is so good at getting things out of people and offering perspective and just a different take on things. I love him and I love his podcast. That's it for us. Follow us at Better Together with Maria, at Jeffrey Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer2,
at Wincenza,
at Princess Winnie. And if you haven't joined us on Patreon, please do click the link tree at Better Together with Maria. Join us. $10 a month. You get access to the most amazing guests and healers that we have on the show in a more intimate forum. $10 a month. You also get extra shows, ad-free shows, and we have a lot of really cool things coming up. So be nice people, make good choices, and be present.